I don't know if you guys saw that Gogo Maweni's show recently. I think it's called Thokoza Gogo, season 2. On today's episode, she had a guest. And as you can see in the title, the guest that she had was Brother Enigma. And Enigma was talking about the message that he's been speaking about in podcasts concerning the revelations and so forth. Now, this stems from a conversation she had with someone who told her, wait for it, to go to church. Now, we don't know exactly what is it that made this person, or she saw something or certain things are happening around her, and so they told her to go to church. She didn't resist. She's been very much not interested in Christianity. You can hear that in the conversation she had with Pastor Piri. If you watch the podcast that Pastor Piri had with her, Maweni is not interested in church. She's rather has a position of church head concerning that, and she feels like God is very passive, not doing enough or not doing, you understand. And so she went the route of thinking. So she's been told, go back to church. No, it wouldn't be going back to church. She would be going for the first time. The first time she went, she didn't hear correctly. Maweni did mention that her first interactions with church was the Catholic Church. Now, Catholicism it's not the most consistent when it comes to upholding biblical doctrine. It's not the most consistent. And the reason for that is because Catholicism is a traditions-based religion. And so for you to go from traditions, by traditions we mean they have a format and what and all those things. And so for you to go from traditions to traditional worship, which is African spiritual worship, it's pretty much the same. They venerate the dead there, and on the other side they worship Mary and the saints. So it sounds pretty much the same. And so I would hope that when that person said that to her, you need to go to church, she would have heard she needs to find a Bible-believing church. Abazalwane. Like people that Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and have a Bible with them, right? And so I guess they went to meet Enigma for advice. Now, for me, I don't think that's really what was really intended here. If you look at it, if she was really caring, if she really cared about the advice that she was going to get, as per se to what the Bible teaches, right? It's not, the point is not to find someone else. That's not really the point. The point would be, if she was interested in the truth, there's something that happened in this episode that tells you they have no interest in truth. They're kind of like there to create a fuss. They want to create a scenario, basically. Why do I say that? In the episode where they brought Enigma into this episode, they then have a girl. They then have a girl stand up and display her backside. Yeah, they had a girl stand up and display her backside. And so if they were really, really interested in truth, right? If they were interested in getting biblical advice, what was the point of having that girl parade her backside before him? The whole thing, they were saying, no, what does Jesus have to say about it? What does Jesus have to say? Why? Why is that? Why is that? And to show, you see, when you go back to Tina Zungu's show, they had a sangoma to create the tension and interest, right? They had the tension to create they had the sangoma to create the tension. In this episode, last week they were doing some very weird pig rituals and all that. So in this episode, they, opposite to Tina Zungu's, where they had a sangoma on a preacher's show, on this one they had a person who says they're a Christian to create the interest and to spite them. To spite them by having this woman parade her backside. So already that tells you no interest for truth. They are not interested in truth. So it's the same. It goes back to that question that I asked on some of the last episodes that I reviewed of Tina Zungu. Like, why is it that our young people nowadays are so hardcore willing to be an insult to God? I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. The guys that are producers for the shows are very young people. They're very young people that do the shows and turned on the Stembus. They are very young people. Could be creative in many ways, but they choose this. If really the advice, so maybe when by the time when I'm airing this episode, by the time you see this episode, the episode would have started, I think, a couple of minutes before that or so. Maybe there's something, but I just don't get. Like, if you are really interested, if someone told you, hey, go get up, you need to go to church. Go to church. That's that. Right? Go to church. If they said go to church, go to church. Instead of bringing a person who is affiliated to a church and bringing them into an environment which fits your model and all that. And then there was the other dude there who was saying, why, Pastor, why is it like we are khala or something? No, you brought it. You brought that woman. You brought that entire thing up so that you can pin that. It should just create interest. Like, so how long do people think? Like, I think it's something we once spoke about in discipleship when we were talking about a false perspective on mortality. I think we tend to have it a lot more because we lose this sight that you have a very short life down here. A very, very short life. You don't have that much time. It's not like you have an eternity out here. You have a very short time on this earth. Don't delude yourself with trying to be, I don't know what people are trying to do. Just, why this animosity towards God? Why is it so? And especially in African spirituality, it's hectic. These people hate God. They told you to go to church and then you bring your temptations to Enigma and you say, what does God have to say? Why do you want him to say anything about it? God is interested in talking to you, the person. Leave Nyash out of it. So you can see the modus operandi is still the same. It's just to create interest. It's just to create interest. At the end of the day, they probably don't care about what Enigma has to say. But for interest's sake, and seeing what other shows have done with Christianity, or what social media has done with Christianity and people living and all these things that have been happening over the last couple of months, seeing that, they were like, let's pander to that. Let's. I don't buy that. Maweni says she's a witch. It's like, so she woke up and she was willing to entertain the idea of church or Christian or Christianity. She woke up and she was, I don't know. we'll see what the conversation was exactly, which led to that entire thing. And so if you do see the video, do send it out to me. I will definitely keep an eye out. But his appearance, for me, it looks like it was just an appeal to create some tension in social media thingy or online. And because after that whole case thing, she fell out of favor. Like she was not so talked about by that time. And so when the case happened, mortality really sets in and you realize, okay, it's real out here. So they're doing this to bring her back into the conversation and so forth and all that kind of stuff. Now, this show might have been filmed before that, or it might have been filmed right around those times. I don't know if this was filmed recently or what, but this might have been filmed some time ago. But just because you haven't heard about it, I did say that there were people in the industry that were interested in doing something with it. I think if you listen to my episode, which I went to Chris, I did mention it on that episode in the first couple of minutes. But yeah, tell me what was done in the comment section. Is the Reality Show, daily Christian commentary videos. The interest for truth is not really there. Otherwise, if they were really interested in truth, they would have not brought the temptation and said, oh yeah, they'll be suggesting. And also, I think she should have just gone by herself. Instead of having people that are asking Enigma, hey, are you tempted? What kind of questions are that? And so maybe we'll know now what exactly was it that made the subject matter of church to come back. If you are really seeking for truth, you wouldn't be dragging all these things that will drag a person back into the conversation if you really are interested in that. But what do we know? People, false mortality is real. False mortality, by false mortality we mean people that are under the delusion that, tomorrow is guaranteed. Tomorrow they will be here. That's the deception in this day and age.